Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of Yang Berhormat Tiony-Ching, Deputy Minister of Communications and Digital. Ladies and gentlemen, please kindly rise in honor of the national anthem of Malaysia, the Negaraku. Thank you, distinguished guests. Do kindly be seated. Para hadirin yang dihormati, bagi memberkati perjalanan majlis kita pada hari ini, dipersilakan Encik Rizwan Dollah pimpin bacaan doa.
Astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullahalazim, astaghfirullahalazim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, the most merciful and the kindness, we humbly beseech you to bless us with all that is good on this day and the days to come. Shield us from harm and evils that may befall us. Verily, you are As-Salam, the source of peace, and true serenity is from you alone. To you, all peace returns. O Master of Majesty and Honor, on this auspicious day of the grand finals of the National ICT Security Discourse, NICTSeD Cyber Safe Challenge Trophy, we implore you to make us among those whom you have guided. Grant us health and strength as you have done for your righteous servants. O Allah, we seek from you the best supplication, the greatest success, the most virtuous deeds, and the highest reward. Ya Rabb, bring our hearts together in solidarity and unity of purpose, that we may progress as one towards sustainable success. O most forgiving and loving of forgiveness, pardon our shortcomings and bless us all with a pleasant, meaningful day ahead. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منكم.
Thank you, Encik Rizwan, for leading us in the recitation of the dua. Yang Berhormat Tiony-Ching, Deputy Minister of Communications and Digital. Our honored guest yang berusaha Encik Ma Sivanesan Marimutu, Deputy Secretary General, Ministry of Communications and Digital. Yang berbahagia, General Tan Sri, Dato Sri, Dr. Haji Zulkifli bin Muhammad Zain, Chairman, Board of Directors, Cybersecurity Malaysia. Yang berbahagia, Tuan Haji Shafruddin bin Ali Hussein, Deputy Director General, Education Malaysia, Ministry of Education Malaysia. Yang berbahagia, Dato Technologist Dr. Haji Amiruddin Abdul Wahab, Chief Executive Officer, Cybersecurity Malaysia. Yang berusaha, Puan Nur Sanusri Ramli, Director, Public Relations Division, RTM. Yang berusaha, Technologist Haji Paridon Zahid, Deputy Director, Educational Resource and Technology Division, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us and welcome once again. Welcome to NICTSeD. This is the final and I hope you are ready for an amazing event. So are you really ready to meet our participants, ladies and gentlemen? We have something special lined up for the introduction. So on that note, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we commence our event, accompanied by Mr. Chairperson Edwan Muhammad Aidid of Cybersecurity Malaysia, please join me in welcoming the finalists of the National ICT Security Discourse CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023, SMK Amiruddin Baki Kuala Lumpur, Sekolah Sri Putri Selangor, and SMK Kota Kemuning Kelang Selangor, led by the St. John's Alumni Pipe Band Malaysia. Nicely done. That was the St. John's Alumni Pipe Band Malaysia. A little bit more about them. They were founded in 2005 by the former students of St. John's Institution Cadet Band. This group has fundamentally been created to learn and share about Highland or Scottish music, and they basically perform on the bagpipes and drums, something no AI can duplicate, hopefully. Today, their contemporary bagpipe tunes continue to delight music enthusiasts around the country. Once again, we thank the St. John's Alumni Pipe Band Malaysia. Now, we also would like to thank our panel of experts joining us today, whom without we would not be able to completely understand the core matter at hand, AI, and how it is going to be impacting our society, because a lot of terms and jargons used today, we probably will be hearing for the first time, and I speak for myself and my generation. So thank you. Let's give it up for our panel of experts. So my name is Terrence, and I'm part of that generation that was blown away by AI for the very first time when Terminator hit the big screens. We were always awed and drew inspiration from the fact that Arnold kept coming back. We were further blown away when Will Smith gave us the warning, "Sometimes I told you so, just don't quite cut it," in iRobot. And today, Mission Impossible features the main villain being an AI. So I think we have actually got some real world case studies of how weaponization of AI may take place. That being said, I would like to say congratulations to all the teams that have made it here today. Let's give them a big round of applause. And for those of you tuning in for the very first time and you're unfamiliar with the National ICT Security Discourse, it is Malaysia's first national cybersecurity school discourse, initiated and organized by Cybersecurity Malaysia. Let's give it up for Cybersecurity Malaysia, looking ahead into the future. In collaboration with our very own Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Communications and Digital Malaysia. Now, since its inception in 2013, the program has successfully achieved its goal of being the method of disseminating knowledge with regards to cybersecurity in a way that is interesting to both students and teachers. The main objective is to encourage the creative and critical thinking of all participants. This is on the current internet and technological issues of the day that are being discussed on a global scale and how to overcome online risks and challenges in that process. This event also aims to transform students and teachers into smart and ethical internet users. Distinguished guests, now a brief journey into NICTSeD's history. In the 9 years of conducting this event, we've crowned a variety of schools as winners for the esteemed competition. In the year 2013, we saw many boarding schools dominating and winning the competition, from Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Kajang in 2013 and Sekolah Dato Abdul Razak in 2014. We've also seen Tengku Kursia College in 2016 take the top prize. Only once, and that was in 2015, did we have a winner from a public school, and it was Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Iskandar Shah, Jasin, Melaka, that took home the trophy. The competition this afternoon will see a three-way discourse. Vying for this year's title, we have SMK Aminuddin Baki, Kuala Lumpur. Sekolah Sri Putri, Selangor. And SMK Kota Kemuning, Klang, Selangor. All strong contenders ready for battle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our 10th year conducting NICTSeD, a decade of discourse, and we'd like to take this time to extend our utmost appreciation to the private sector for their continued support and dedication. In addition to that, our NICTSeD competition would not have evolved to the high standards that you see before you today without the support of our strategic partners in the form of the Educational Resources and Technology Division, Ministry of Education, who have been the backbone to the CyberSafe in-school program and proudly brought to you by Cybersecurity Malaysia since 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to commence the CyberSafe in School National ICT Security Discourse. The Challenge Trophy for 2023 now takes center stage. Our topic this year is, as you know, weaponizing AI, or artificial intelligence, the impact on our society. Facilitating this competition, please join me in welcoming your chairperson, Encik Edwan Muhammad Aidid. Encik Edwan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Terrence. If I may. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. I bid to all and welcome to the National ICT Security Discourse CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023. The National ICT Security Discourse for this year's Grand Final is now in session. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Edwan Muhammad Aidit from Cyber Security Malaysia, and I will preside as the chairperson for today's discourse. Assisting me today will be our timekeepers, Ms. Nurfaiza Hanis Halim and Ms. Maya Sarah Mazlizan from Cyber Security Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, from the 15 topics that have been discussed in the competition, we have come to the final proposal for today's discourse, which is weaponizing AI, artificial intelligence, the impact on our society. To present their proposals for the National ICT Security Discourse CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023 Grand Final, let me introduce our finalists representing Team A from SMK Aminuddin Baki, Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur. SMK Aminuddin Baki was the finalist in NICTSeD 2017 and 2022, and the team members from last year's competition remain unchanged for the 2023 edition. So let me introduce once again their first presenter, Ms. Jaslyn Lau Wen Jie. Let's give a warm welcome for the second presenter, Mr. Amir Nafis bin Rozaini Munir. And their technical expert, Ms. Shazrina Shazwin binti Muhammad Sazri. Team B, represented by Sekolah Seri Putri Selangor. Sekolah Seri Putri was a semi-finalist in NICTSeD 2022, only the third school from Selangor to reach the NICTSeD Grand Final. Okay, let us give a warm welcome to their first presenter, Ms. Aisyah binti Hanif. Whilst their second presenter is Ms. Nazratul Inshirah binti Muhammad Nazumi. And their third member, which is their technical expert, Ms. Khairatul Aulia binti Khairul Anwar. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, Team C, represented by SMK Kota Kemuning from Selangor. This is the school's first appearance in the grand final of NICTSeD. So let's welcome their first presenter, Mr. Niraj Pravin. Their second presenter voted best presenter in the octo-final, quarter-final, and semi-final round of this year's competition. Let's welcome Mr. Ravindran Surandran. And last but not least, their third member of the team, the technical expert. Let's welcome Mr. Chan Ze. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give another round of applause to our esteemed panel of experts, or POEs, who will be adjudicating today's grand final discourse, comprising of the Chief of POE, Lieutenant Colonel Haji Mustafa Ahmad, Senior Vice President of Outreach and Capacity Building from Cyber Security Malaysia. Lieutenant Colonel Haji Mustafa spearheads the Outreach and Capacity Building Division at Cyber Security Malaysia, bringing him 34 years of expertise in defense and security. Okay. Next up, our second panel of experts, technologist Dr. Isma Muradi Abdul Kadir, Chief Information Security Officer from Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad. Technologist Dr. Isma is the key personnel in Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad that handles the strategic and operational matters when it comes to technology and cyber risks. Next up, Encik Shazrul Helmi Samsudin, Principal Assistant Director, Educational Technology and Resources Division, Ministry of Education. Mr. Shazrul is an experienced educational technology advocate with a demonstrated history of working in the government administration industry, particularly with the Ministry of Education for more than 20 years. Now, the POE number 4. Let's welcome Mr. Douglas Brown, Executive Director, ACPM IT Asia. An Executive Director of ACPM IT based in Europe and throughout Asia, Mr. Douglas focuses on delivery for the digital age through the innovation of the next generation. Our panel of experts, number 5, is Dr. Kavita Muti, Chief Strategy Officer, Intellize Tech Services. Among the best achievement that Dr. Kavita holds is being the first woman in Malaysia to achieve a Professional Master of Business Continuity Professional, or MBPC. Our next POE, our 6th POE, Technologist Finlayson Anak Ludan, Deputy Director of ICT, Malaysian Broadcasting Department, Radio Television Malaysia RTM. Finlayson Anak Ludan is a native of Sarawak who started serving as Information Technology Officer in 2003. He has extensive experience where he has served under 5 different ministries covering the fields of information management, ICT planning and strategy, network and communication, and ICT security. Last but not least, our 7th panel of experts. Let's welcome Mr. Arihan Haji Abdullah, Head of Sustainability Programs from Celcom DG Berhad. Mr. Arihan is now leading Celcom DG's sustainability programs, focusing on digital safety, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. Right, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, the session is ready to officially commence our discourse. Presenting the National ICT Security Discourse, CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023, Grand Final for the topic, Weaponizing AI, Artificial Intelligence, the Impact on Our Society. Therefore, to begin our discourse, I would like to call upon the first presenter of Team A, SMK Aminuddin Baki, presenter number 1, Ms. Jaslyn Lau Wenjie.
Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have you heard of the word AI this year? I bet most of us heard it every day, right? Especially with the popularizations of ChatGPT. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In this digital age, AI holds the potential to enhance our life, boost our country's economy, and also reshape our politics. But as we celebrate the accomplishments of AI, we must also never forget that AI can be used as a weapon. However, AI alone cannot be weaponized. It can only be weaponized when it is reined in by humans. This is because AI analyzes one's past behaviors and uses the predictive analytics to suggest new ways that persons most likely will adapt to. So, while AI itself is not a weapon, it can be integrated into various technologies and compromise the best out of the best. Today, I, Jaslyn, will be giving you the definition, status quo, and also explaining the impacts of weaponizing AI in cyberspace, while my second presenter, Ami, will be explaining the impacts of weaponizing AI in physical space. Now, definition. According to the United Nations, AI is considered a discipline of computer science that is aimed at developing machines and systems that can carry out tasks considered to require human intelligence. According to the Forbes advisors, it shows that AI market reaches a staggering 407 billion by 2027, experiencing a big growth with expecting 86.9 billion in 2022. Now, this strongly proves that AI is a fast-growing phenomenon in today's digital world. AI is everywhere, from our very own personal assistants to sophisticated algorithms that streamlines the entire industries. Its capacity for learning, adapting, and carrying out tasks with incredible precision holds the potential to significantly change the way of our existence. Now, let me define what do I mean by weaponizing AI. Weaponizing AI is a malicious AI algorithms that can degrade the performance and disrupt the normal functions of benign AI algorithms while providing technological age attack scenarios in both cyberspace and physical spaces. Moving on to the impacts of weaponizing AI in cyberspace. It's differentiated into two, which is positive impacts and negative impacts. Firstly, positive impacts enhance cybersecurity. AI can be used to develop the next generation antivirus software that can be used to detect and block malware in real time. For example, AI algorithms can identify and block suspicious attacks or network activities to prevent cyber attacks from growing. Secondly, faster threat detection. AI-powered intrusion detection systems can quickly identify unusual patterns in network traffic. For example, if an AI system detects a growing speed in data requests, it can trigger an immediate response. How does it do? It will block the harmful traffic, such as distributed denial of service attack. Moving on to the negative impact. Increased cyber threats. Automated phishing, where cyber criminals can use AI to generate phishing, for example, messages or emails. AI can analyze a target's crime behavior and craft highly convincing phishing emails or messages, making it more likely that the recipients will fall into the scam. Secondly, disinformation and manipulations. AI-driven technology can create highly convincing fake videos and also audio recordings. While not a weapon in the traditional sense, deepfake is a disinformation campaign, propaganda, or character assassinations impacting not only the political, but also the social ability. Now, such manipulations can undermine trust in media and also institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, AI is indeed an incredible invention, yet it do brings us significant challenges and obstacles. Challenges for the society, opportunities for the society. While AI can be used to improve our cybersecurity and also defend us from being cyber attacked, but if we misuse it, it will still increase the cyber risk. I'd like to quote the words of Yang Berbahagia Dato' Sri Haji Muhammad bin Mentek, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Communications and Digital. Addressing cybersecurity challenges is a shared responsibility. Therefore, it is essential for every citizen to equip themselves with the knowledge on how to use AI ethically and also to harness the AI's potential to its fullest, and of course, to prevent ourselves from facing any cybersecurity involving AI, weaponizing AI. With that, I'll end my discourse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Team A. Presenter number one, thank you, Jaslyn. Before we move on to the next team, we shall wait for the cue from the Chair of POE for them to tabulate her marks. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, let's hear the opening pitch from Team B, Sekolah Sri Putri Selangor, their first presenter. Let's welcome Ms. Aisyah binti Hanif.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. I bid the panel of experts and everyone present in our discourse today. Now, before I start my speech, our resources can be obtained through the QR code seen on the screen right now. Ladies and gentlemen, in my speech, I will be focusing on our introduction as well as our usage, while my second speaker will be explaining on our impacts as well as our recommendation. Ladies and gentlemen, now, you must be wondering, why is there a little girl seen on the screen right now? Can you see the resemblance? She's my sister. Now, she's at the age of 5, which is when child brain absorbs the most information. Wherever she sees, she does. Doesn't that remind you all of anything? Exactly, artificial intelligence. Now, whatever data, whatever information we feed these machines, they come up with their own conclusions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our aim for today is weaponizing AI, the impacts on society. But before we can truly understand the impacts of it, we must first take a closer look at artificial intelligence. It is a technology that emulates how our human thinking works in learning and using the knowledge in problem solving. Now, it is a simulation of how a human brain thinks. Now that we've seen the meaning, we have to understand there are 4 main ways on how an AI learns. The first one is self-correction, knowledge, reasonable thinking, and creativity. Now that we've seen on AI, I would like to present to you the evolution of AI. Now, I'm sure that many of us have heard of AI, but just how long has it been around? Well, if you look at the location marked on the globe right now, that is exactly where the first AI conference was held in United States of America. Now, let's take a closer look at evolution. In 1956, the first AI conference was held. In 1966, the first AI chatbot was held. In 1972, the first AI robot was created. In 1997, the first computer to beat a world chess champion. AI against humans. Now, in 2012, the first digital assistant. Now, we can conclude that from these 5 incidents, AI was created to actually help humans in their daily tasks. But how about now? Well, if you look around yourselves, you look at your mobile phone, you open a social media app, that is AI. You open a travel app, that's AI. You open a shopping app, that's AI. We imply it in our lives and use it in our daily activities to the point where we don't even notice it sometimes. Now that we've seen all of this, let's take a look at how it has affected the Industrial Revolution. If you take a look at the first Industrial Revolution, it was all about factories and steam gas. But moving on to the fourth one, it was all about humanity's technology advancement and how we used it in our daily lives. But you all must be thinking, what is the correlation with Industrial Revolution and AI? Well, let's take a look how it has been used in different industries by society. Well, there are a few examples. Social media, transportation, agriculture, security, robots, education, automotive, financing, healthcare, and gaming. But however, our focus isn't how it's been used in different sectors. However, our focus is how it has been used to weaponize AI. Now, a few examples. For transportation, countries can use autonomous transportation to actually move from one place to another during wars. Now, for security is also a very important thing in AI because realize that AI can be used as a tool for cyber wars. And lastly, autonomous robots is currently being developed and can be used as something to attack during wars. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that we've seen this, let's see what happens when we weaponize AI. It creates something absolutely revolutionary. Now let's take a look at what it means. To make AI suitable to use to harm somebody or to damage something. Now let's take a look how it impacts society. First one is misinformation, where some AI can give false information, over-dependency, where humanity relies too much on AI, less job opportunities, where we can be actually replaced by AI, and bias and discrimination. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a quote by Oppenheimer. "Now I am becoming death, the destroyer of worlds. But what is the correlation with AI and my speech? Stay tuned for my second speaker's speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aisha, presenter number 1 from Team B, Sekolah Sri Putri. Okay, whilst we wait for the cue from the Chief of POE before we proceed to the next team, okay? All right. Proceeding further into this exciting session, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for Team C, represented by SMK Kota Kemuning Selangor, to present their proposal. I would like to invite their first presenter, Mr. Niraj Pravin, to the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And as we know, our topic for today is weaponizing AI, the impact on our society. So these are the contents that I'll be talking about today. So let's start with definition. So we start with weaponization. Weaponization is the act of making something suitable for use as a weapon. Weapon is a tool that can be used for conflicting harm or as a defense tool. And this is based on intent. Now we talk about what is an AI. Artificial intelligence is the ability of machines to perform tasks that are typically associated with human intelligence. Now, let us talk about our point of view to this. Our point of view is the weaponization of AI should be carried out in a limited and ethical manner so as to mitigate the risks of fully depending on the weaponization of AI. Now, there are two fields of use which we have clarified, which is military and information warfare. Let's start with military. So, military has two main roles, which we have classified as strategic and executive. So let's start with strategic. AI has the ability in planning attacks, tactical operations, and strategy. So the algorithms that are present in this AI can actually create probable causes of using this AI, and they can also create simulations of how using this AI, how using this strategy could work based on the previous attacks that were used. AI can also predict enemy threats, strategy, and motion, and modus operandi. This is because they can analyze the patterns of threats that were used in the past. AI is also excellent at data analytics, computational skills, and advanced calculation. This mitigates human error because AI it rarely uses human intervention. Now, we move on to executive. So what is executive? Executive is AI's utilization in operating weaponry to carry out military operations. So we have classified two types of executive AI weaponization, which we have classified as fully autonomous and partly autonomous. So we start with fully autonomous. Fully autonomous uses AI. So this AI is the sole decision maker and acts on its own will and decision. Whereas for partly autonomous, it is required for human operations to make key decisions. So to give you a bigger picture, let me give you a scenario. Let's say you are a soldier and you have a gun. This AI, for fully autonomous, you would not need to pull the trigger. Whereas for partially autonomous, you would still have to pull the trigger. The AI can help to assist you to identify enemy soldiers, for example. Now we move on to our next main point, which is information warfare. So information warfare is the misinformation spread about the integrity of a certain country's government. There are a few uses of AI in information warfare. So AI can analyze trends of what can provoke people to react in an aggressive and reactive manner. AI can utilize sensitive topics in order to spread misinformation. For example, 3R: race, religion, and royalty. These are a few sensitive topics. So as a result, one of the results of this is riots could occur. So in the start, it starts out with peaceful assemblies or protests. Over time, this slowly escalates to rioters using violent and aggressive methods. Things start to go out of control and become ballistic, causing lots of damage to properties and so on. Now, what will this do? Civilians will start to lose trust in the government because they can't upkeep the safety of the public. The result of information warfare is ineffective governance. A public that has no trust in the government would not cooperate with the government. So any policies implemented will not get the support and consideration of the public. So our opinion on weaponizing AI is that it should only act as an integral tool in providing analytical and administrative help to human personnel. This is because AI is still relatively new and there are still flaws that are present in AI. And decisions should still be left to authority entities to make based on a case-by-case basis. So now that I've given you the gist of weaponization of AI, my second speaker will elaborate to you the impacts to our society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Niraj Pravin from SMK Kota Kemuning, Selangor. So before we begin to the next section, for the second presenters, let us wait for the cue from the panel of experts before we proceed. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, after hearing the opening pitch from the first presenters of Team A, B, and C, it is now time for me to call upon the second presenters. Before we begin, let me remind you that this is an exciting section of the discourse, as the opposing teams are allowed to ask questions during the 8 minutes presentation of the second presenters. Therefore, it is important for teams to make use of this opportunity to score points that you need to become the champion in today's final. We shall begin by calling upon the second presenter from SMK Aminuddin Baki, Team A, to enlighten us with the follow-up points. Let's give a big welcome to Mr. Amir Nafis.
Unlocking your smartphone with a single glance, recommending your favorite videos to binge watch, or even providing answers to your most complex questions. In this modern era, our daily lives have been woven into new uncharted territories as artificial intelligence, or AI, has become the forefront in pioneering the latest technological advancements in our society. But what happens when this revolutionary innovation turns violent, hurts people, kills? Assalamualaikum, good afternoon, dajahau, and vanakkam to everyone. My name is Amir Nafis, and today I'll be continuing off my teammate Jeslin's presentation. When you think of weaponized AI, I'm sure you're already imagining, I'm the Terminator. But even though humanity is still a long way from sentient killer robots, the weaponization of AI already brings about a plethora of implications on international security, as it can not only be found in the real world, but in the world of cyber technology as well. Ladies and gentlemen, as my first speaker has already talked to you about the impacts of AI in cyberspace, let's now delve into the weaponization of AI in the military and its impact on our society. In the military, AI weaponry operates on a special class of weapon system known as LAWS, the Lethal Autonomous Weapon Systems. Based on a general overview, this autonomous military system functions to detect, select, and engage its targets without the need for human intervention. Now, you might be wondering, does LAWS actually exist? Yes. And the truth of the matter is that LAWS has existed since the 1980s and mainly consisted of defensive weaponry, such as anti-vehicle landmines, creating massive explosions just based on trigger systems. However, with weapon technology becoming more sophisticated, new and improved weapon systems have begun deploying missile defense systems and even sentry defense systems. Another example can be seen in the Caucasus region in September 2020, in the region known as Nagorno-Karabakh, where a regional war broke out between the countries Armenia and Azerbaijan, where the Azerbaijan military heavily utilized autonomous weaponry such as loitering munition, also known as kamikaze drones, where their main function was to autonomously detect and crash into their targets, hence the name kamikaze. Now, some of you might be asking me, if they're weaponizing AI in the military, how could it possibly affect me? To find the answer, we only have to look as far back as the World Wars and how they destroyed millions of lives. If powerful nations initiate warfare with weaponized AI as its vanguard, perhaps the similarities between the wars of the past and present aren't too far off. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now delve into some of the impacts of weaponized AI in the military on our society. Firstly, job displacement. As more human jobs are being replaced with AI, this can also be seen in the military, because human soldiers can get tired, hungry, injured, emotional, but AI does not. If the number of military personnel begins to plummet, we believe that the future generations will become too dependent on AI in terms of national security, as well as having unemployment rates skyrocket. If AI fails to protect our country, we won't be able to properly fend ourselves from these threats, especially if we're under attack from the other nations' AI armadas. Furthermore, with countries around the world beginning to understand how to utilize AI weaponry, we might be looking at the development of an arms race, where powerful nations compete with one another to see who's got the best tech. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, humanity is no stranger to arms races, and it can only mean one thing. The weaponization of AI may just bring us headfirst into a third world war, led by fully autonomous machinery. But what does this mean to us as a society? It means complete economic collapse, destruction of critical infrastructure, loss of life, generational trauma. Life as we know it will cease to exist, and a new era will burst forth, the era of AI. However, my team and I believe...
Please?
Yes?
You say that before this, AI also causes loss of lives. Don't you think that physical wars that happen from hand-to-hand combat also does the same?
Yes, but the efficiency of AI weaponry has increased. Compared to physical weapons such as rifles and cannons, AI weaponry has increased precision, increased accuracy, which can cause more collateral damage and take more lives. I hope that answers your question. So my team and I believe that AI can also positively affect us, because we believe that the relative average IQ of citizens will also increase. Because compared to the society in the 5 decades in the past, if you explain to them about AI, adults also wouldn't be able to understand. But if you explain about AI to children in the 2010s, they'd be able to create whole presentations, just like us here in NICTSeD. Now, here's the million-dollar question. If AI has gotten so dangerous, how can we guarantee our safety? Ladies and gentlemen, technology moves at a different pace than diplomacy. Thus, significant action has yet to be taken upon this matter. However, my team and I wish to share with you some ways that we as a society can confront AI weaponization and fight for concrete regulations. Firstly, we believe that international delegates play an essential role in creating actionable plans towards regulating AI. Nations must act independently to go against the conventional diplomatic discussions, which only operate based on consensus, meaning that everyone must agree, or there is no agreement at all. This can be seen in the Geneva Conventions conducted by the United Nations, where campaigns are held, such as the Campaign to Stop Killer Robots, joined by over 30 countries, 100 NGOs, and renowned scientists such as Stuart Russell and Stephen Hawking, all in support of fully banning autonomous weapons. In addition, government bodies such as the Malaysian Ministry of Communications and Digital, the Defense, yes.
As you mentioned regarding the law system used for destruction and war in the US, do you think that citizens of a country that weaponize AI, causing innocent lives to be lost, will have second-hand guilt for the atrocities that are committed? Could you please elaborate regarding the citizens' mental health? Thank you.
As I've mentioned before, we believe that cyber warfare caused by physical warfare caused by autonomous military weaponry will cause generational trauma to the civilians, because The military doesn't think about how it affects us. They only think to win the wars. They only think to win the battles. But the real victims of war will be us, the civilians. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry, I'd like to redact your question. I'm sorry. So in addition, government bodies such as Malaysian Communications and Malaysian Ministry of Communication and Digital, as well as the renowned Cybersecurity Malaysia themselves, they play their role by conducting conferences and conventions. And this can be seen in the recent conference known as the Cyber Defense and Security Conference Asia, or Cyber DSA 2023, held just about a month ago, which I'm sure the panel of experts are familiar with. Here, cybersecurity professionals, government officials, policy makers, and military personnel around the world gather right here in KL to share their experience, demonstrate their expertise, and share the latest knowledge and awareness regarding weaponized AI and cybersecurity as a whole. Furthermore, as responsible individuals in today's society, we believe that everyone must ensure that the knowledge they gain regarding AI must be used towards the greater good. For us, participants of NICTSeD also have a duty to responsibly spread the knowledge and experiences that we gain throughout this competition. So to summarize my speech today, it is undeniable that AI has provided many benefits to our society. But in order to reap said benefits, we have to find the balance between trust and control. So I pass the question to all of you. How much control are you willing to sacrifice by entrusting AI technology with the work of humans? Thank you very much.
Good follow-up points by presenter 2, Mr. Amin Hafiz from SMK Amanuddin Baki. So whilst we wait for the cue from the Chief of POE, it's a bit of facts on NICTSeD. Since inception in 2013, NICTSeD has received over 900 submissions from secondary schools nationwide, and over 200 topics related to cyber safety and security have discussed throughout the competition's history. Ready? Okay, and this session continues with the second presenter from Team B. I would like to welcome from Sekolah Sri Puteri Selangor, presenter number 2, Ms. Nazratul Inshira.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to the honorable panel of experts and everyone present in today's discourse. Ladies and gentlemen, back then wars were fought physically with weapons, guns, missiles, and bombs. However, we are at the new dawn of warfare. Imagine lethal drones flying all over you, with face recognition, and they are able to identify your every move. Or unmanned armed robots that are near difficult to defeat. Even autonomous flight jets that can withstand gravitational force more than any human being ever could. Or even deep fakes that overthrow campaigns and elections. Imagine you as a citizen who would want to vote for your favorite person who could be a prime minister, but overthrown just because of disinformation. Even cyber attacks that incapacitate the critical infrastructure of a country. Here's the thing, you don't have to imagine that anymore, because that has already been a reality. Famous physicist Oppenheimer had once said that he became the destroyer of worlds. Because back then, it was about fighting on who can integrate atomic bombs with warfare, and whose country that was able to rapidly do so is the most powerful one. And that will be no different with AI once it is put on the battlefield and has made accessible. Why do we say this? Because of greed. Human beings are instilled with them. They want the best for themselves and for their country, and they are willing to put others away for it. Humans are the weakest link. And we believe that humans determine the usage of AI whether it is to be good or bad through two things: process and technology, the good and bad. The outcome and aftermath of when AI is developed depends on us, human beings. Because once we do the bad, it will backfire. But who are involved once it does? Us as a society 5.0. All of you here, you are a part of this community, even our honorable POEs up there. Because Community 5.0 is a community that integrates cyberspace and physical space. It is convergence of these two elements in today's world. But what are the specific impacts of AI in society? With the topic of weaponizing, the first one, we believe how it makes everyone over-dependent. These are just some of the many cases that are out there. Over-dependency can make citizens here, the younger generations, kill creativity. They won't be able to develop themselves as individuals. Hence, it disrupts originality. All of us here have our minds of our own, and AI is going to disrupt that once we are dependent over it. The second impact, we believe that it causes job displacement. By the year 2062, individuals who want to fight for their country may not have a chance to do so. In a sense of urgency, when we want our people to be by our side, but we are not giving them the chance to do so because why? We are weakening the nationalism through dependency on AI. See how those two impacts correlate with each other? Let's move to the third one. Now, the third impact of today is how it causes bias and discrimination. Ladies and gentlemen, racism in itself has been one of the biggest things that's happening right now, regardless of where you go. Sexism as well. AI is just going to worsen that. If its algorithm is programmed by an individual who are believing in those kind of things, then it is just going to spread, which will then escalate conflict really quickly.
Question?
Yes.
Earlier, you mentioned how AI can potentially take over human originality. Can you suggest some ways for citizens to prevent AI from taking over human control and originality?
Thank you. Regulations are needed when using AI. As students, when giving homework, when doing homework, we should not be dependent on using AI. When making decisions, we should not be dependent on AI. We should create with original ideas. We need to instill our creativity. And that's how we believe it will happen. But right now, we need laws for that to become a reality. Let's go back to bias and discrimination. What does it cause? It causes escalation of conflict. Do we really want that to happen within Malaysia? We are a country diverse with other ethics, with other religion, and we do not want conflicts to happen the way it did back then in 1969. Let's look into the fourth impact of today's discourse. It is misinformation. Misinformation happens when deep fake videos are created to blackmail individuals that want to lead our country. And from there, not only does it destroy the reputation, but it also destroys democracy, which is something that we should heavily bank on. We need the rights of our citizens to be able to voice out who they want to become the leaders of Malaysia. But deepfakes are able to just throw that away with a simple video and a simple script. And we should avoid that from happening. But how? So, how does AI can be used ethically to give more positive impacts on society? With all these negative impacts, let's look into the three things. Earlier on, I stated about process technology and humans, and I'm sure all of you remember that. But let's integrate it all together. In the middle part of it is an empty space, and it fills with V. What is it? What is V? It is value. But what do we mean by value, panels? Ladies and gentlemen, the values are these three things. Knowledge. Yes?
Could you elaborate how racist beliefs could spread through AI?
Racist belief. Racist belief can be spread through AI since AI are used methodically by everyone here. Even in a recent case where China's AI chat box was created, And it was then used to ask of where did COVID originally came from. China's chatbot said that it came from America and had blamed the people there. And that is how we instill racism and hence escalate conflicts. These three things: knowledge, awareness, and ethics. How do we instill this among society? Using 3I. We impart, we instill, and we inculcate. Now, what are the outcomes of when this is done? Let's look into it. First of all, it enhances efficiency. It reduces human casualty. To support what they have said is true. Team A has said that it increases the death. However, we believe that from the side that utilizes AI will then harm further the victims that will be held against. And the ones who are deploying AI are the ones that are safe. Third of all, it develops innovative skills and areas combat. Now, the use of technology and the internet in a positive and responsible manner creates a progressive cyber Malaysia Madani community in Malaysia. The three things that I've told you came from our government themselves. Who are we to deny our government? Our government has provided us the best solution for us. With that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Nazratul, presenter number 2 from Sekolah Sri Puteri Selangor. Whilst we wait for the panel of experts to tabulate her marks, let me share with you a bit of history of NICTSeD. NICTSeD is Malaysia's first and only national ICT security school discourse competition, and it was seen as an ICT security debating competition until it was transformed into a discourse format in 2014. It was a competition, initially a 2-team discourse consisting of 4 team members. The virtual discourse approach has seen a reformat of the previous by adapting a 3-way discourse challenge after the 2020 pandemic. Okay, Chief of POE, are we ready? Okay. Let's move on to the final team, which is Team C. I would like to welcome from SMK Kota Kemuning, their second presenter, Mr. Ravindran Surandran.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So now that my first speaker has elaborated to you clearly on what we really mean by weaponization of AI, because I'm sure coming in here, most of you wouldn't have even understood what weaponization of AI even means and what AI even means. So I hope that has helped. But now, let me talk to you about the more important stuff, which is the impact it has on our society, because there are many. Now, these are the 3 matters that I'll be touching on today. So let's get into the first one, geopolitical tension. So what do we mean by this? When countries invest in the weaponization of AI, of course, they want to have the best weapon systems. And this means that they also want to project power on other countries. Each country wants to have the best defense in case of an emergency, in case of wartime scenario. So what happens is a weapons race or arms race happens between countries where it causes their existing diplomatic ties to worsen. So now, how is this actually an issue? Well, this has more adverse effects currently than it ever did in the past. So let's get into why. So economies don't function singularly or domestically anymore. This is mainly because nations tend to rely on a global economy through trade collaborations with other nations. Now let's see how this actually looks. Most collaborations with the global economy and other nations come in through foreign direct investments. So what will happen is we will lose foreign direct investments if the diplomatic ties with foreign countries worsens. So now this will, of course, cause for our economy to deteriorate. Things like multinational companies will no longer want to set up shop here in Malaysia and choose other countries of attraction with better diplomatic ties. So now, how does this actually affect our society, you may be wondering? How does this affect the man on the street? Well, first of all, the man on the street may lose his job. Loss of jobs are a very real thing when economy deteriorates. Other than that, the layman's struggle will be heightened by an increasing cost of living. Now, moving on to the second point, which is brain drain. So what do we mean by brain drain? Well, as my first speaker mentioned, in a country that has lost trust of its people, the country will not be able to operate properly. A government will not be able to carry out good governance. The economic strength will reduce, and most importantly, the political state will just not be stable. So this will then cause for most youth and people who are just getting into the workforce to think, hey, my country may not be the best place for me to flourish. So what happens? Well, it's human nature only for us to go to other places to find greener pastures, for us to prosper. So this means that our young minds leave the nation to other places to find better jobs and better opportunities. So what will this do? Well, in the context of the government, this actually reduces the workforce in the country. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means that the money that can be collected, one of the main revenues of the government, which is tax, will reduce. Taxable income contributes a lot to infrastructure development. For example, in the budget, the government talks about things like the development of infrastructure, so the widening and broadening of the LRT system. Other than that, even in the context of cybersecurity, the education of the populace about cybersecurity, and even things like broadening internet outreach to rural areas. So the kids in the rural areas are able to use Wi-Fi. Now, this will severely be impacted. So at the end of the day, the quality of life that the government is able to offer to citizens will reduce. Now, let's move on to the final point, moral erosion. Now, you may be wondering what moral erosion is. And let me just tell you before I get into it that this is something serious that we must consider. Now, let me get into this quote. One man's war is another man's revolution. So this really means that the initiation of war is viewed differently from different aspects, from which point you look at it from. For some people, they think, especially when one country is leveraging war, they tend to think that they are doing something good, committing justice. But for a country... Yes, please?
Based on definitions of weaponizing AI, it happens in both cyberspace and the physical space. But you keep explaining about physical space. Can you please address on weaponizing AI in cyberspace?
I will get into that later in my speech. Thank you very much for the question, yeah? All right, moving on with my speech. As I said, it depends on the point of view of whether AI is a good, whether wars are a good thing or a bad thing. So now, at the end of the day, one thing that we can all agree on in this room here is that wars are never won. Nobody wins a war. At the end of the day, somebody is losing out. Somebody is dying unnecessarily. So let's talk about moral erosion. What do we mean by this? Well, citizens from nations that commit war crimes...
Question, please.
Yes, please.
Well, your first speaker has stated that there are autonomous devices partly and fully, but the impacts you have given only focus solely on society itself. Can you give a correlation on how weaponizing AI gives impacts on society?
Thank you for your question. Right, the motion that we're discussing is weaponization for society. So I believe that we are answering this through our slides. And other than that, in the context of war, I am further explaining through the slide. I hope that your questions will be answered. Now, moving on with my speech, citizens from nations that weaponize AI and commit human rights violations will get so used to the fact that these atrocities are being committed, and they might even consider these atrocities to be just and right. There won't be any issue as to ethics or morals. So now, moving on with speech. So how does this actually work? Well, this is mainly about getting these people accustomed to new norms. Governments that wage war tend to justify their actions, however tyrannical, however unnecessary, and however inhumane, and by saying that, okay, we're doing justice, we're doing revolution, we're helping people. So this is because human belief systems are easily manipulated. As humans, we tend to think that we are very non-biased, but this is not the case. We are easily manipulated, and the government exploits this trait and brainwashes us into thinking that atrocities are right. So now, all in all, what happens? Well, the younger generation will grow up in... No, thank you, please. the younger generation will grow up in times where human rights atrocities and violations are just another thing in the day. And there won't be any liability from governments and other people, and this will become the new norm. So now, first of all, to answer your POI, my first speaker actually mentioned about all the disinformation and how it will lose trust, and this is how I have actually answered how losing trust will cause brain drain. I hope that answers your question regarding the cyberspace. So now, in conclusion, okay, this is very important. AI, we believe that AI is something good. It has many good applications, but we must make sure that we do not give it too much power, and especially fiat power, in determining and making decisions of life and death, okay? Things like military decisions that involve people being bombed, people losing lives, can this actually be made by AI? So what we believe is that let us not allow the technology that is meant to help us to pollute our humanity. AI lacks humanity. People don't. Let us embrace our humanity and not let AI make us cruel, cruel beings that have lost all moral and ethical fortitude. And with that, I'd like to end my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ravindran from SMK Kota Kemuning Selangor, representing Team C for today. So whilst we wait for the panel of experts to tabulate his marks, let me share with you a bit more on the history of NICTSeD. A total for today's grand final, a total prize money worth 11,000 ringgit is up for grabs for the finalists, with the NICTSeD2023 champion will receive this behind me, the Bohemian Crystal Challenge Trophy. And 5 states in the history of NICTSeD competition, 5 states have clinched the champion's title since NICTSeD's inception in 2013. Selangor, state of Selangor twice, Negeri Sembilan twice, Melaka once, Pulau Pinang once, and Pahang 3 times. Okay, my panel of experts, Chief of POE, are we ready to move on to the next section of the discourse? Okay, whilst waiting, we have seen the proposals for all the teams competing in the grand final of the National ICT Security Discourse, CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023. And ladies and gentlemen, we now move on into the discourse core section, which is You Have My Interest. Before we proceed to the final section of the discourse, I would allow a prep time of 3 minutes for the POEs to gather their thoughts and construct these questions. The session will continue once a cue is given by the Chief of POE to proceed. To the POEs.
We are ready to have the question and grill all these participants.
Okay, therefore, POEs, your time starts now.
First and foremost, I would like to congratulate all the 3 teams. You have done extremely well, and congratulations and well done. Okay, now, since I'm the chief panel of experts, I will ask the first question first, because I'm worried that somebody else might take my questions, but never mind. But I would like to ask Team B. I'm quite impressed with your presentation, with your deck and everything, but okay, in the great debate of artificial intelligence, which matters to all of us, how can we take advantage of the vast potential of artificial intelligence without sowing the seed of our own destruction? But that is not the question. The question is, AI is first and foremost is a tool, and the purpose and objective of a tool should be to promote the well-being of humanity. I think some of you have said it before. So do you think in our beloved country, multiracial, multi-religion society such as Malaysia, and to support Malaysia Madani, how can AI resolve the 3R issue of royalty, race, and religion that we are facing at the moment? Can you expound a little bit and maybe give some thoughts on it? Thank you.
No, basically they not solve royalty race. Basically ethics. You add on I'll talk about this. You cakap pasal ni. You cakap pasal ni. Yang ethics. I akan cakap pasal. So ethics is basically etiquettes, a guideline on how to use AI. Okay, go.
I'll answer. Thank you, Chief POE, for the question. Well, how can AI resolve the 3R and not cause any conflict within Malaysia? First of all, we believe that AI is still an evolution that's going to be implemented in Malaysia. It's not fully used yet, but it will in the future as it is inevitable. Well, we believe that first of all, one of the many suggestions that is quite evident is to have a national AI legislation, a law that helps correlates and minimize any bad questions that a human being could ask. If it does touch on race, religion, and royalty, AI can block it under the law that is given by the government. If done so, we believe that any sensitive issue will not arise. Also, we believe that limitations should also be given as government and AI developers should work together to foresee just how far can AI go when it comes to giving their information and how far can a human being think when it comes to asking those questions. To answer the question thoroughly, it is to create a national AI legislation to minimize the impact and hence to also reduce any bad negativity that comes from the answers yet questions. My first speaker would also like to elaborate.
And just like in our speech, we have actually acknowledged the potential of AI. That is why with our legalization, we will actually use AI, the power of it, the potential of it, for the good of our country. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Firstly, and most importantly, I would like to congratulate not only the three teams here, but your school community, your teachers, and everyone who has taken part in this discourse, because it's important. You are the next generation, and those innovations that you have brought up over the course of this entire competition have been extraordinary. And so therefore, I congratulate you for that. My question is around, in all three teams, we focus on weaponization as on the negative side of it. How, and this is a question for any or all, even briefly, all of the teams, how do we weaponize AI for good around healthcare, cancer research, education, natural disasters, either responding or predicting them? How do we weaponize AI for good? Thank you.
Well, AI can be used for good by weaponizing it. Because if you see, AI, they have very fast analyzation. Thus, if you go to a doctor's and you use AI, AI can actually diagnose your disease more fast. Diagnose your disease even faster so that there won't be any cancer problems, because we will be able to diagnose those people faster and even heal them even more faster.
Well, we also believe that AI can be used for good when it's done correctly. In the healthcare field, that is done so.
Faster, dia boleh analyze.
Okay, once it determines the health problems of that patient in the healthcare industry, we believe that it can also come up with a solution, as once AI is given an algorithm, it's also able to expand and hence give you a step-to-step process as to how we can try to heal what needs to be healed.
Team A or Team C would like to answer that.
Excuse me, sir. I'd like to answer the question. Okay, what are the good aspects of AI? So this is particularly, we'd like to touch on AI drug discovery. So now the AI drug discovery has actually been around for quite a while now. And the traditional methods of drug discovery, of course, take a long time. Okay, so things like 20 years to 30 years to develop a certain drug, because of course it goes from development stage to it being tested and so on, and finally for full-on rollout. And this is also why it costs a lot. Okay? Developing a certain drug, a new drug altogether, can cost billions and billions. So this is why AI is very, very useful in the development of drugs. This is mainly because, first of all, let's get some of the concerns out of the line, which is, first of all, there will be lack of human error. Other than that, it's also longer and continuous work hours. This means that AI is able to come up with a solution quicker than human researchers. This is mainly because human researchers, of course, they tend to take breaks, they need rest, but AI does not need rest. It's a machine. So now let's talk about how actually AI develops drugs. So first of all, it identifies targets easily. This means that AI is able to use its algorithms to predict what cultures and what chemical and biological components are needed to develop a certain drug. It is also used in situations of simulation testing. So this means that there is no need for testing the efficacy of a drug on physical samples, for example, on humans or even on animals. So this means that AI is able to simulate a situation in which the drug is used with all of its chemical and biological components, and is able to come up with how it will respond. And finally, I'd like to talk about ultimately how the consumer benefits. This is mainly because, as I mentioned, firstly, it's a reduced cost. Secondly, it is faster in development. So all of these things will ensure that companies and drug companies are able to actually sell these drugs for a cheaper price than they would when they're developed solely by human researchers, because it will simply just cost more. So at the end of the day, not only is AI drug discovery good for the development of initial drugs, but it's also good for the consumer at the end because it's cheaper and more accessible. With that, I'd like to end my answer, sir. Thank you.
Right. I'd like to answer the question from Mr. Douglas Brown. So how can we weaponize artificial intelligence in a positive way? So in this section, in the sector of education, my team and I believe that AI technology can be used. For example, there is a school in Malaysia that utilizes the technology of facial recognition to take in attendance of students to ensure that all the students are here in school and to minimize the tasks needed to be done by the teachers. Other than that, AI learning can be used when developing language learning apps or learning apps in general, where if we utilize AI software in learning apps, AI will be able to determine customized learning pathways for anyone, just about anyone. This provides a more accessible learning. My apologies. This provides an accessible learning landscape for just about anyone, including minority groups. Because when AI manages to analyze data from many different types of races and religions in Malaysia, they will be able to spread knowledge and will be able to spread more knowledge and information to everyone. Next, in the terms of healthcare, we believe that AI can help in the continuous monitoring of patients without the need for constant human nurses always checking up on them. For example, AI can be used in technology to detect blood sugar level or heartbeat or heart rates. Other than that, as mentioned by the Team C, AI can also be helping in drug discovery because there is only so much that can be done by humans. And if the discovery of drugs is accelerated by the help of artificial intelligence, we can make the discovery of drugs that can help cure incurable diseases such as maybe cancer or such as cancer or AIDS, we can utilize AI technology to discover all of these cures faster. And next, we also can look in the sector of socialism and how mentioned earlier by Lieutenant Colonel Mustafa, where we can also tackle the issues of the 3R, race, religion, and royalty, where in social media, we are aware that there are plenty of issues regarding online harassment and hate speech towards different religions and races in Malaysia, because statistically, unfortunately, Malaysia is considered one of the top 10 most racist countries in the world. AI can be utilized to track down these acts of online harassment, bullying, and hate speech, and provide predictive analyzations and data sets to governments, to authorities, to local emergency response team in order for us to carry out the necessary acts in order to fight against these problems. I believe my first speaker would like to elaborate more.
I'll talk about the impacts of the natural disasters. Firstly, it can have the early warning systems where they can actually use AI to analyze the weathers, because we do understand that humans, even without AI, we can also analyze weather, right? But it's not that accurate compared to AI. AI has a system where they can just detect its flood, its hurricane, and etc. And secondly, regarding the rescue operations, yes, humans can also add into rescue operations, but with AI, which is drones, it can actually widen the landscape of it. For example, it's a very big field, right? We don't need like hundreds of rescue teams to just go and search on the victims. We can just send like 5 drones. It helps to shorten the lang time. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add on. We also believe that in the progress of developing our country, AI can also develop that as well. First of all, it creates the efficiency. As I've stated in my speech before, in my last slide, it talks about enhancing efficiency. So through statistics, when we want to filter out any information that is used so that we can monitor what's the activity that's been done in our country, AI can be helped to do so. Even through the sector of finance, when it comes to filtering out what the numbers and statistics and graphs and all, AI can help to do so, which will then help human beings to have an easier job when it comes to facing with all these big numbers in their workforce.
Okay, thank you, Nazratul. Next question from POEs, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, congratulations to all the team members here that you have made to this far. Hi, okay, my question to all the team members to take turn and answer this. We've been hearing a lot in terms of but it's very scary, I suppose. You have talked about military effect, you have talked about mental effect, you have talked about all kind of social impact. Now, having that, I also believe that in our country, we do not have any specific cyber law to address if there were to be any AI disruption. And a lot of impact has actually bringing an equation to the social impact. Therefore, my suggestion is the powerful AI system should be only developed only once we are confident that there will be positive impact only, and also the risk will be manageable. What is your thought about it? And if you were to write a proposal to the government, what would you propose? My proposal is to stop development. What is yours?
A gentle reminder to our audience, you have my interest will last for a duration of 30 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Any of the teams that would like to answer the question, please stand up and give your answers. Okay, Team B.
Earlier, I received the question as well about something quite similar. I believe that national AI legislation should be first made before we proceed with letting AI become more accessible towards our society. Because in today's modern world, modern problems require modern solutions. the AI development is inevitable, and we believe that to stop it entirely is quite utopian. Hence, with the development of AI, we should also make our society catch up with the fact that AI can be used for the good and bad. So by regulating the usage of AI, we believe that it does not stop the development of it. Once the government has done so, it is then made possible if all citizens in Malaysia use AI. Hence, it will also make a more positive impact in society as regulations it has been put upon, instead of letting it become so free to be used.
Okay, any response from Team A or Team C?
So we propose that government should actually invest in research on AI. And this is to see all the application to improve the governance. And legislation should also be worked on to mitigate the risk of the AI. Second speaker would like to add on.
So as we mentioned, first of all, we'd just like to make it clear that we suggest that it's a simultaneous approach that has to be taken. AI is something that is developing so quickly. So we need to compete with our foreign counterparts in order to stay current and stay successful. So this is why the government must invest in seeing the utilizations of AI and how it can be used to improve governance and public life, as my first speaker mentioned. But at the same time, it also has to research and draft new laws and policies that mitigate the possible threats or risks that this AI poses, as Madam POE mentioned. So now, let's get into just a small example on. Okay, let's get into a small example on how actually the laws that can be drafted. So first of all, we suggest there are a few relevant laws that can be amended actually to include provisions that govern AI. For example, the Multimedia and Communications Act 1998. So this mainly tends to govern things like applications, and even websites fall under this category. So mostly AI's applications in the real world tend to be in applications or websites. So amending this law to actually better include provisions that govern its use will actually ensure that developers of AI adhere to these rules and always prioritize the interests of the consumer. That is the first thing. Other than that, we also suggest the amendments made to the Personal Data Protection Act 2010. So this Personal Data Protection Act is mainly pertaining to financial or commercial transactions. So things like banking info. But nowadays, AI is even involved in these systems. In, for example, your Maybank to you, or your any online transfer banking that you do, AI is already used in these situations.
Okay,
so
speaker.
How does it actually work? Well, although it's not used for the consumer, these companies use AI to increase their firewalls, better their cybersecurity, and facilitate transactions in a more secure manner.
I think we have given
All right.
your level enough. So can we get back to the chance?
Team A.
Chairperson.
Okay. I'd like to answer the question. The proposal that my team and I would like to make is that the Malaysian country, the Malaysian government must not shy away from the technological advancements that artificial intelligence can bring to us. Because we cannot shy away from the many benefits that AI can bring to our society in terms of healthcare, education, crime, socialism, just because we're afraid of risk. Because in reality, everything has its own risk. And we, as Malaysian citizens, also the Malaysian government, must find the balance in productivity, efficiency, but also maintaining effective security and mitigating the risk. But this can only be done through trial and error by utilizing AI technology, because we need to learn from our mistakes. It's what separates us from AI, because humans make mistakes and we learn from them. And my first speaker would like to elaborate.
And adding on to my second presenter, we will also need to have continuous evaluations and monitoring. We know that AI can make decisions by its own, right, if it's overused. Thus, we need humans to actually constant monitoring and evaluate to prevent any cyber incidents that happens, which might affect the humans in the society. Thus, which what my second presenters told, that's what separates us from AI. Humans and AI actually can live together and make a world a safer place. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello. Testing. Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so now we have established that AI is merely just a mechanism or tool that can be used, that can be utilized both for good or bad. But I think I've missed one focus in the society which we can utilize AI on and weaponize AI on, which is the elders. So I would like to hear your thoughts on how would you weaponize AI to reduce the gray digital divide. How would you weaponize AI to reduce the gray digital divide?
Any of the teams that ready with the answer can stand up.
Just a reminder, we don't have much time, so perhaps maybe each your response should be limited to maybe a minute or minute and a half each from the team. Thank you.
I would like to answer the question. All right. So to answer the question on how we can utilize and weaponize AI to help the elderly in our country and throughout the whole world, we believe that AI can be used to help the elderly to log into their accounts on just about any single application or software, because they are not like us. They perhaps cannot remember complex passwords that they create to log into their accounts. So with AI, we can actually utilize the technology of facial recognition to ease their logging into many accounts. Next, we can also utilize AI to help the elderly filter out sensitive content or deepfakes or fake news from reaching their social media pages. This is to prevent them from being confused on modern topics of discussion and preventing any conflict between them and the people. Because when there's between them, when they see things on social media and they say, hey, look at this, I heard that this happened from this political person, but it turns out to just be fake news. And AI can help to filter out the sensitive content so that they avoid it entirely. My first speaker would like to elaborate.
Can it allow Team B to?
Okay.
Assist the elderly, which is known as care robots. These care robots can help the mobility of the elderly and also monitor their physical activity and detect them for falling and also feed them, because we know that the elderly, their children, their grandchildren might be overseas and they don't have enough time to care for the elderly at home, right? So with the care robots, they can actually monitor the elderly and report anything that happens to the child and grandchildren itself. Thank you.
Now, to actually utilize AI for the elderly, first we have to acknowledge the elderly, most of them live alone. And now most of them can't manage themselves well. Now, how do we do that? With a home assistant. Now, what does it do? It will be able to manage the elderly's medicine, how they go around, and it can detect your heartbeat with wearable devices. They can even plan out the schedule, how the elderly goes about their day. You will be able to monitor the elders for the safety of them and the security of them. We will also have a medication detectors to remind the elderly, oh, it's 2 a.m., you have to take your medicine. And we also help with memory aids. Now, elderly people, they can help with memory aids because they have AI-driven applications, can help with daily tasks, reminders, appointments, or remembering names and faces. Now, something that we can do, we have to acknowledge that some elderly, they have problem with their vision. Now, what can we do about that? We can create, the home assistant can actually help to scan their medication and let them know what it is before they actually consume them. Now, AI can be used to utilize for the safety of our elderly. Thank you.
Team C, do you have anything to say?
So AI is actually a more applicable feature and it already exists. So for example, Siri. So the elderly can actually use Siri to, for example, if they want to call someone, they have their contact saved on their phone. So all they have to do is just say the person's name and it already helps them call the person. And moreover, if the elderly are trying to look for an app, all the elderly has to say is just say the name of the app and it already takes them to the name of the app. So therefore, it already exists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Hello. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to the contestants. So my question is, online scam has resulted in, billions of losses to Malaysian, and just the three of the groups. Do you maybe have a suggestion on how can we weaponize AI to combat the online scam? Thank you.
Please. AI, I believe, can be used to detect any suspicious activity when it comes to the transaction within society and as a whole in our country, because AI can be used for the good and bad. So AI, once used as so, is able to identify and hence notify us when there are suspicious activity in scams as well. And not only that, I believe that AI is able to help with periodically auditing, checking back all our data information. So to prevent scams as a whole, AI can review what is it that's been brought up to us and hence see the source of it. From there, we're able to prevent ourselves from opening the phishing link and etc. and hence be a victim of scam.
Thank you very much. Team A.
I would like to answer the question. So, in order to weaponize AI to fight against online scams, we believe that this mainly occurs in the financial sector. So we believe that AI can increase the efficiency and productivity of banks and companies to fight against online scams. This doesn't mean that we use AI to directly fight against these online scams, but we use them as assistance so that we, the humans, the actual experts, can fight against these online scams. We can do this by using the AI to handle smaller tasks within the network, such as handling account balance inquiries, password resets, or customer service. When the AI handles these smaller tasks, the IT experts in the companies or organizations are able to handle the more complex tasks and put more focus into combating online scams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Team C.
All right. So in AI's applications in combating online scams, so let's just talk about it in a very simple way, the phones that we use. So now we face a lot of threats, as we know, things like phishing scams and so on. So AI can be is already being used in things like antivirus and cybersecurity applications of certain companies that you can just install this app on your phone and it actually gives you guidelines and also helps you identify things like malware, things like ransomware threats. So this allows you to better use your devices. And other than that, AI can also be used to actually target audience in terms of who needs cybersecurity knowledge more and on education and online scams more, and devise plans and strategies to be conducted either by the private sector or the government in order to raise awareness. Because in any case, education is paramount in ensuring that cyber scams and so on do not happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our last question. I will allow additional time for the last question from the last POE. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. A country can collapse if we are being attacked on our financial system. So my question specifically to Team A, you mentioned just now about risks. How can we reduce the risks and protect the society from AI weaponization on financial crime? Thank you.
Can we have probably the last question from the last POE as well?
Okay.
Okay, so I like to ask about to develop an AI, we need hardware, we need software.
we need data information. But for Malaysia, with a many very bright youngster like all that we have here, so I think we need another one, which is we call hardware. Okay, so how we going to implement this hardware, which is we can integrate religion, we can integrate all the good ethical into developing the AI. So the question will be open to all the group. Thank you.
I would like to answer the question directed earlier. So how can we use AI to mitigate the risk in the sector of finance? So first of all, we believe that AI can be used to analyze data and provide us data sets to analyze previous cases of financial scams. And from these previous cases, we can learn from our mistakes and use the data to prevent and provide more ways to fight against these online scams. Next, AI can also provide customized financial advice to the many users in Malaysia. AI can be used to customize the financial advice based on their preferences, based on the user activity, and the financial advice provided to the users can hopefully instill awareness into the users regarding financial scams. And other than that, AI can also be used to combat fraud, to combat online fraud, because AI is able to verify identities, to set up or access your financial accounts, and to also make online purchases. And as I've mentioned before, AI can be used to increase the efficiency of organizations from a financial standpoint when we distribute smaller tasks to the AI so that the actual humans and experts can handle the more complex issues regarding financial scams. I hope that answers your question. My first speaker would like to elaborate.
Add on to my second speaker, just that I said, AI can actually help in faster threat detection. So when an AI system detects a large amount of money being transferred, right, they can actually receive, the users can actually receive a notifications regarding the amount of money transferred. Or else they actually have a facial recognition feature where only the users must allow that transfer, only the money can be transferred to other parties. Thank you.
Team C. Okay, so first of all, how I understand Sir POE's question to be is how do we actually talk about things like race and religion and all of these other sensitivities to the youth? So that's my understanding of the question. So basically what we suggest is that AI can be used, especially by the Ministry of Education, in order to devise and to strategically how do I say this? To strategically research what kind of ways that can be used to actually educate the current youth, because the current youth want to be educated in different ways than the past. That is number one. Other than that, as pertaining to what Mr. POE suggested, talked about, which is things like race, religion, and other sensitivities. So these kinds of things should also be researched by AI so that we are able to give our children and our students an all-around better understanding and better in education that not only encompasses academics, but also things like this which they will encounter later in the world. So this will ensure that AI helps to broaden the syllabus that is taught in schools. So this means that it won't be only focused on academics, but it will be focused on educating children on how to face the world and tackling things like race, religion, sensitivities, and other issues that they will face in the world, providing them hard skills that not only involve academic education. And I hope that answers your question, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Team B.
Apologies, may we have some apologies. Could we have some clarification on the question?
Some clarification on the question. It was quite unclear for us.
Okay, what I mean is when we are developing an AI, we need the hardware, we need the software, we need the data and the information. But I'm asking, what about in Malaysia? What about what we call as a hardware, hati, jantung, hardware? Hardware, we say you are talking about how you want to integrate religions, how to want to integrate moral into developing an AI, so we can have the AI which is can be used safely for us.
I will allow another 5 minutes for the remaining teams to answer the question. So either Team B or Team A.
To answer your question, we believe during the development of AI, sensitive issues such as the 3R into the hardware can be avoided to a certain extent because it does arise sensitive issues. Because even if some people wanted to ask some clarification on those three things, we believe that using a software engine to Google to search it is a better manner to do so than asking for AI. Because AI is also based on the algorithm and the coding that's been put from the person who develops it. And if the person themselves are not exactly have a very biased perspective towards those three things, we believe that that's where the starting point of conflicts happen. So hardware for the AI drive, we believe it should be developed under informations that can be utilized. To ask clarification about the royalty region and races, we believe that it should be done either by asking those groups of people individually or even using search engines so that any critical information does not arise in terms of conflict. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Due to time, I think I will give it back to you.
Okay. Okay, thank you to all. Ladies and gentlemen, a sincere word of thanks to the panel of experts for their interesting and pertinent questions, to all the teams here in the grand final of NICTSeD 2023. And another big final round of applause to all the presenters from our finalists today. SMK Aminuddin Baki, Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur, Sekolah Sri Puteri Selangor and Sekolah Kota Kemuning from Selangor. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the National ICT Security Discourse CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023 Grand Final. Before the results are announced, I would like to call upon all the panel of experts to proceed to the deliberation room to tabulate their marks. The results will be announced during the closing ceremony in today's event. We request the audience to remain seated whilst we eagerly wait for the result of today's final discourse from the panel of experts. Once again, I would like to thank all the team members, timekeepers, teachers, supporters, and especially the honorable panel of experts for their participation in today's grand final of the National ICT Security Discourse CyberSafe Challenge Trophy 2023. For the last time, my name is Edwan Muhammad Aidid from Cybersecurity Malaysia, and it's been a pleasure being the chairperson in this year's grand final. I wish the best of luck to our finalists. Thank you to all participating teams and hope to see you next year. NICTSeD Dare to Discourse. Over to you, Terence.
Thank you, Encik Edwan Muhammad Aidid, for your candor as the chairperson. And what an amazing discourse that was, truly broadening our minds and perspectives on AI and focusing on what might happen, what already is, and how we will move forward in this very challenging and dynamic world. It's great to see so many young minds already have a grasp of things, and all they need to do is to impart that knowledge to us, the older generation, through channels just like this one. So just as Encik Edwan has rightly said, our panel of experts will now be given a stipulated amount of time to tabulate their marks and will eventually produce this year's winner. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking a kind of entertaining break in just a quick moment. We have a performance that I'm sure you don't want to miss. But before we proceed to that, to the members of the audience, how's everybody doing? Are you guys all still with us? All right. That's great. That's great. So let me test that theory, members of the audience. Could you kindly raise your right hand, wave it around a little bit to the cameras? All right, now keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Real quickly, make this symbol with me. In my hand, I have the universal sign for okay or absolutely nothing. It also looks like the number 3. Hold that symbol up there. Hold that symbol up there. Now take it with me and place it on your chin. Yeah, for those of you that missed, the chin is here, the pointy thing at the end of your face. So you're not all with us, but now you are, because I just woke you up. So welcome back, audience. Put your hands together. Make some noise. So as you can see, we've got some mics set up. We've got a performance lined up just for you. And one of the ways to promote fun learning in schools is through choral speaking performances and competitions. Ladies and gentlemen, the choral speaking team from SK Sri Bintang Utara is delivering a performance centered on children's perspective on unity, something I'm sure all the adults can take heed from. The team is led by conductor Putri Aisyah Sofia binti Amran, SK Sri Bintang Utara, previously known as Bukit Bintang Girls' School, has won the state and national choral speaking competitions every year since 2001. Last year, SK Sri Bintang Utara won first place for choral speaking competition at the national level at the Carnival Hari Serlah Potensi Diri. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, make some noise, show some love for SK Sri Bintang Utara.
Extraterrestrial being. This is our planet. This is our home. Danger, danger, anomaly detected. Homo sapiens. Help! Help! Emergency declaration. Weapons laser light. We are ready to attack. Let's save our Earth. Batman. Thor. Flash. Hooray! We are all in this together. Together, we are stronger. Oh no, the teacher is here. Oops. Keep away your alien mask. Hide your superhero costume. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Are you ready? Curious? Stay with us as we discuss and share about unity is oneness. Oneness, togetherness, wholeness, whole grain bread, sandwich, yum! Nope. Ever since we were in preschool, we were instilled with the notion of unity in diversity. And activities in school, such as coloring contests, drawing posters, poetry recitations, and predictable quiz questions. We get bored. We get used to it for so many years. Especially during Independence Month. We are Gen Alpha. Need information? activities usually involve the physical use of the hands. Hands-on activities that we think can promote collaboration in the classroom, such as building a diorama. Wow! Making costumes, superheroes, creating robots, yeah! And role-play, yes! Ladies and gentlemen, we are inspired by the universe, planet, stars, extraterrestrial life. We want to create a replica of the spaceship. We want to express our creativity by designing a diorama of a shelter for the homeless in Malaysia. Perhaps we can work on recycling centers and robots that can collect trash efficiently in the future. Yeah! Don't you think hands-on activities can promote unity in a fun and meaningful way? Remember, unity is all about oneness. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much more. We are inspired by real superheroes in our community, such as
medical practitioners,
environmental health officers, educational instructors, and software engineers. Superheroes share the oneness of purpose, saving a life. At school, we can brainstorm and discuss issues in our community, such as drugs, robbery, burglary, and vandalism. When we grow up, we will be ready to work hand in hand to combat even present-day issues like
cybercrime,
domestic violence, corruption, and curfew violations. Beat! Hi, Siri! Hi there! What are you doing? I'm just having a whole grain sandwich. Siri? What do you think of unity? Unity is the oneness of purpose, not sameness of persons. Your definition of unity is in your hands. Thank you.
Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for SK Sri Bintang Utara. Truly an empowering, universal message delivered by the team there. And we are looking forward to the results. But just before we get there, of course, we have the next part of our event, which is a few speeches that we're going to get into. And then we shall move into the all-important announcement. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite to the stage the chairman of the Board of Directors, Cybersecurity Malaysia, to deliver his welcome remarks. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia, General Tan Sri, Dato Sri, Dr. Haji Zulkifli Mohammad Zain.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berhormat Puan Teo Ni Chin, the Deputy Minister of Communication and Digital. Yang berbahagia Datuk Teknologis Dr. Haji Amiruddin Abdul Wahab, the Chief Executive Officer of Cybersecurity Malaysia, yang berusaha Tuan Haji Syahrudin bin Haji Ali Hussein, the Deputy Director General of Education Malaysia, participants and finalists of NICTSeD 2023, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Salam sejahtera dan salam sihat, salam Cyber Malaysia Madani. On behalf of the Cybersecurity Malaysia, let me welcome all of you, participants, finalists, and guests to the 10th National ICT Cyber Discourse Cyber Safe Challenge Trophy 2023, or in short, NICTSeD 2023. On behalf of Cybersecurity Malaysia, I express my gratitude to Yang Berhormat Puan Teo Ni Chin, the Deputy Minister of Communication and Digital, for gracing today's grand final with your presence. Thank you very much, Yang Berhormat. I must also acknowledge the immense contribution and hard work of Cybersecurity Malaysia and Educational Resources and Technology Division of the Ministry of Education in developing and organizing NICTSeD annually. At this junction, I would like also to thank our program partners, namely the Department of Broadcasting Malaysia or Jabatan Penyiaran Malaysia, particularly Radio Television Malaysia, for hosting the venue and providing media coverage, as well as the Institute Penyiaran dan Penerangan Tun Abdul Razak for providing the accommodation for the participants. Thank you very much. Yang Berhormat, ladies and gentlemen, launched in 2013, NICTSeD started off as a national ICT security debate competition on cybersecurity for secondary schools in the country. Responding to the dynamic demand and evolving nature of ICT security, the competition underwent a transformative journey, transitioning into its present discourse format, where secondary school children now engage in structured arguments on ICT security topics. This transition enables participants to partake in well-structured discussions that places emphasis on critical thinking, collaboration, and effective communication. NICTSeD is formulated towards a more holistic school children's development, aligned with the overall strategic objective of the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013-2025. It provides a platform for school children to enhance analytical skills, deepen understanding of cybersecurity, and prepare them for the future challenges of the digital age. For the past decade, NICTSeD has been well participated by 2,264 school children from 693 schools throughout the country. This major milestone is a manifestation to NICTSeD's enduring impact and success in being recognized regionally as a hallmark of excellence in ICT security discourse. Yang berhormat, ladies and gentlemen, 133 schools participate in NICTSeD 2023 through the preliminary rounds. Through the preliminary rounds elimination, 81 teams qualified to compete virtually at the octo final round, from which 27 teams progressed to the quarterfinal. By the semi-final stage, 9 teams were left to compete in the hybrid competition, of which 3 teams emerged as grand finalists, as we saw today. Taking part in today's grand finals are Team A, Team B, and Team C. The topic chosen for 2023 NICTSeD grand finals, weaponizing artificial intelligence, the impact on our society is both timely and critical. The rapid evolution of AI, especially generative AI, brought significant advancements across key industries and sectors. Ironically, the same technology that powers our daily lives can now be weaponized by cyber criminals. Generative AI uses machine learning to generate human-like text, video, audio, and images. While these tools have numerous beneficial applications, they are also being exploited by malicious actors to carry out more effective, sophisticated social engineering and cyber attacks. Today's grand finals, ladies and gentlemen, the topic and aims to prepare our future generation in understanding the evolution of cybersecurity and the imminent reality of ultra-sophisticated cyber threats impacting our society. As we now live in a digital era, cybersecurity is key to protecting our critical infrastructure and sensitive information. In fact, NICTSeD goes beyond teaching participants how to articulate and present their ideas. It helps to equip them with the necessary skills to effectively persuade expert panels to discuss and embrace their ideas and concepts. Yang berhormat, ladies and gentlemen, NICTSeD cultivates a creative mindset and increase critical thinking skills among our school children to enable them to identify and highlight current issues on the internet and technological achievements. On that note, I again congratulate all participants of NICTSeD 2023. I look towards to hearing the discourse next year, where your analytical, critical thinking skills and creativity will again be put to test. I hope that through such initiatives, Cybersecurity Malaysia will nurture a culture of positive and ethical use of the internet and technology in our society. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia General Tan Sri. for your warm words of welcome. Well, we've seen the competition, we've seen the presentations by all our teams, but now we want to take you a little bit behind the scenes of how they came to be as teams and, of course, their journey throughout the series of debates and competitions that they've had before reaching to this penultimate stage. So on that note, we direct your attention to the screen for this video.
Today, I stand before you reminiscing and also shedding light on how we put together the National IT Security Discourse, or known as NICTSeD. As I vividly remember 10 years ago, how we mooted the idea on trying to find ways and means to disseminate information to the school children on how to be safe online. I've been with NICTSeD from day one until today, and it has been 10 years. The journey has been great, the journey has been beautiful, and the journey has been an eye-opener. We have been participated by approximately 2,264 students from 690 schools thus far. And I'm hoping that NICTSeD will continue its extraordinary journey for the next 10 years or even more, and will become a competition that will be sought after by the school children. So, NICTSeD, dare to discuss.
Ladies and gentlemen, I extend my greetings to all and warmly welcome you to the National ICT Security Discourse Cyber Safe Challenge Trophy 2023. The discourse for this year's Octo Finals is now in session.
The discourse for this year's quarterfinal is now in session.
I extend my greetings to all and warmly welcome you to the National ICT Security Discourse Cyber Safe Challenge Trophy 2023. The discourse for this year's semi-finals is now in session.
Be vigilant, for nothing that one achieves lasts forever.
The internet is like a jungle, filled with unexpected mysteries and unexpected threats. There are a total of 2,200 cyber attacks happening per day.
Cybersecurity posture proves to be the staple in maintaining effective online vigilance.
As the saying goes, a stitch in time saves 9. It is extremely important for an effort to be taken
to educate them about data privacy in a fun and engaging way.
Please explain, how do you propose to measure the effectiveness of each of your solutions?
So the winner of this session, and we'll go to the final, is from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Kota Kemuning.
Sekolah Sri Putri Cyberjaya.
Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Aminuddin Baki.
Congratulations.
So at the moment, we are feeling great. Odds were against us, but we still managed to push through. We hope to do our best.
Hopefully win, but either way, it will be a great experience for us.
That's semi-final. We make it to the finals. We're very happy, very grateful.
My hopes are just that we can prepare properly, we can get enough rest, and we can do well in the grand finals later. So, wish us the best of luck.
We hope everyone's going to do their best, and let's see who wins.
Syukur Alhamdulillah that we made it to finals. We feel very happy, but of course there's an adrenaline rush because finals are in 2 days. Well, NICTSeD has been going on for 10 years, so I'd like to congratulate NICTSeD on the 20th anniversary. NICTSeD has taught many students plenty of things, and NICTSeD has taught me on cybersecurity in itself. We'll go all out
for the champion title for this listening set.
Sri Putri number 1.
SMK Kota Kemuning, terbilang semua bidang.
SAB, Cyber Clean, Cyber Safe.
Must say, all the contest participants are receiving rockstar treatment, and it looks like they're going to be pretty famous when they get back to school. Am I right? So one way or another, we're still keeping you in anticipation of the results. It is now my great pleasure to invite Deputy Minister of Communications and Digital Malaysia to deliver the closing remarks. Please join me in welcoming Yang Berhormat Tioni Ching to the stage.
A big thank you to the MC of the event, Yang Berbahagia General Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Zulkifli bin Muhammad Zin, Chairman of Cyber Security Malaysia, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Technologist Dr. Haji Amiruddin Abdul Wahab, CEO of Cyber Security Malaysia, Yang Berusaha Tuan Haji Syafruddin bin Haji Ali Husin, Deputy Director General of Education Malaysia, participants and finalists of National ICT Security Discourse 2023, panel of experts. I seriously don't envy your job. Distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Salam Perpaduan, Salam Malaysia Madani. I am delighted to be here today, and it is indeed a great pleasure to be part of the National ICT Security Discourse Cyber Safe Challenge Trophy 2023. Thank you, Cybersecurity Malaysia, for inviting me to officiate the grand finals. Congratulations to you and your program partners for organizing a competition that showcased the skills of talented students from schools nationwide. It is inspiring to be among such bright young individuals today. The significant history of this discourse competition demonstrates the role it fulfills in spreading knowledge and information on ICT security and the internet among students as well as teachers through Cybersecurity Malaysia's outreach initiative known as Cyber Safe or Cybersecurity Awareness for Everyone. This 10 years milestone achieved at National ICT Security Defense reflects successful collaboration and strategic partnership between the Ministry of Communications and Digital and also the Ministry of Education in nurturing young Malaysians to become ethical and more resilient digital citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, developing digital literacy skills is crucial to navigate cyber scams and fraud in today's digital world. It includes using digital devices, evaluating online information, identifying fake news, and engaging in responsible information sharing. As Malaysians continue to embrace a new digital lifestyle and rely on a myriad of digital devices, platforms, and technology, we are also increasingly exposed to the wide range of cybersecurity threats. Armed with the latest technologies, cyber criminals now use AI tools to hack passwords, leak information, and scam users, causing data breaches and financial losses. Based on the latest cybersecurity incidents report by Cybersecurity Malaysia, Cyber 999 Cyber Incident Response Center, 3,837 incidents were recorded from January to August this year, with the top four being fraud, 2,400 cases, intrusion, 396 cases, content-related, 378 cases, and also malicious code, 359 cases. In the year 2022, A total of 7,292 incidents were recorded. These incidents shows that the public awareness level in Malaysia internet users still need improvement, as people are still falling victims of cyber threat. Ladies and gentlemen, in Malaysia's shift towards an information-centric society, prioritizing digital safety in our education system is crucial due to the potential risks and dangers like scam, identity theft posed by the internet. Hence, it is important to educate our youth on ways to navigate the digital world safely with healthy digital habits. Students also need to be mindful of their digital footprint, which is essentially a collection of their personal information that exists online, such as social media activities, search history, and online purchases. Therefore, the National ICT Security Discourse plays an important role in facilitating the acquisition of knowledge, sharing and nurturing innovative ideas, as well as developing fresh content for cybersecurity awareness program. National ICT Security Discourse is also in line with the National Digital Education Policy, which aims to produce a digital literate generation of teachers, students, and academic staff who are competitive and competent in technological knowledge. The Ministry of Communications and Digital is also working closely with the Ministry of Education to improve infrastructures and also digital ecosystem in schools through the Point of Presence project. So far, out of 3,600 schools have benefited from this program. In today's rapidly changing world, it is essential to teach children not only what to learn, but how to learn. This course cultivates critical thinking, knowledge acquisition, creativity, and innovation among our students. As we recognize Cybersecurity Malaysia's success in making the National ICT Discourse relevant and impactful for the past 10 years, we must also build upon the knowledge and experiences gained to further strengthen the cyber defense and resilience growing forward. Building cyber resilience involving each member of our community, practicing holistic cyber hygiene, for implementing best cyber security practices to continuously learning, collaboration, and information sharing. As for the government and cybersecurity industry, we need to constantly invest in research and development, incident response planning, regulatory compliance, and also international cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I would like to applaud all participants of National ICT Security Discourse 2023 for making the effort to engage in the discourse, which will ultimately empower you to navigate the digital landscape with confidence and resilience. This is a journey that requires continuously learning, adaptability, and a proactive mindset. We are all stakeholders in this digital world, and the responsibility to protect and make it safe, inclusive, and accessible lies with each of us. I'm assured that the next generation is more than ready to tackle any challenges that might come our way. We need to build on our strong foundations, as the digital safety of our future generations depends very much on the actions we take today. Let us forge ahead by making cybersecurity not just about protecting ourselves, but also our devices and personal data, but a way of our future digital life. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all the finalists. Thank you.
We'd like to invite you to kindly remain on stage, as I'd like to invite Yang Berbahagia General Tan Sri,